From machines that help farmers on a basic level to ones that are so incredible it's silly. Join me as I show you innovative agricultural machines that are at another level. Number 7. Tree Shaker. One of the classic kinds of agriculture is being able to grow trees and pick the fruits that are grown from them. But especially for berry trees, that process can be very time-consuming and honestly boring. But enter the Tree Shaker berry picker and suddenly you're cooking with gas while not harming the tree at all. This incredible vehicle wraps itself around the tree via a pincher of sorts that has a tarp attached. Once it's around the tree, the device literally shakes the tree and the berries will hit the tarp and land on a conveyor belt that takes things to the vehicle itself for collection. Because it's only shaking the tree, it's not being harmed. This means they're collecting berries at a very fast rate, all by just surrounding it in a unique way. So for farmers with lots of berry trees, this vehicle is a must. Number 6. Loonbedrift's and Kroner's Ditch Dredger Cleaner. There are many parts of a farm that you absolutely need to work right in order to make everything go smoothly. And one such thing is an irrigation ditch. It's part of the farm where the water goes and filters into other things. But a common thing that happens during the natural business of things is that it can get clogged, specifically with weeds. If that happens, nothing works like it should. Enter a device by Loonbedrift and Kroner, which is basically a dredger for ditches that'll go into the ditch via a long arm on a machine. As it goes through the ditch, it'll shoot out all the things that are clogging it back onto the mainland. This means that your ditch will be clean and you can get back to work. You might think that this is a bit over-elaborate, especially given the size of the machine. But do note that some farms have multiple ditches and cleaning it by hand can be very time-consuming, even with multiple people. This way, it'll take care of it in a few minutes, if that, and you can get back to work on the farm. Number 5. Electronic Tresec. I want you to imagine that you're working in a winery, like one that grows their own grapes and has massive fields where the grapevines grow. Can you picture the rows of grapes now? Good. Now I want you to think about what is the worst thing about those rows of vines. Simple. When the vines fall to the ground, they can just fill the path that you walk on with branches and vines that do no good in their current state. Enter the electronic Tresec. This is a vehicle that is literally custom made for these vineyards, mainly because it can fit perfectly into the rows, and as it goes by them, it collects all the branches and vines that come from the plants. So it just cleans up everything, you might ask. And the answer is yes and no. Yes, it does clean things up, but it doesn't just do that. It wraps them all up and basically turns them into bales that can be used on the farm for various things, including building or feeding the animals should they be into that kind of thing. This saves the work loads of time, and should you decide to throw these items away, it's as simple as just lifting up a bale and getting rid of them. Number 4. Spapiri Enrico. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of how tobacco farming works, but in short, you need to make sure that you cut only certain leaves when harvesting them, because that's where the best tobacco grows. So let me ask you, which leaves do you want to take? You might think it's the top ones, as they're the ones that are the most exposed to the sun. But you'd be wrong. Instead, you want to take the bottom rows of leaves, because as they grow in the shade, they become bigger and more flavorful. The Spapiri Enrico is a device that allows you to do just that. It's constructed in a way that allows the user to go over the plant, thus not harming it, and only picking the bottom rows of the leaves. This is good because said leaves will regrow and the top leaves will get bigger and provide even more shade for the plant in question. It's a perfect symmetry of efficiency and getting the job done the right way. Number 3. Shulter. Earlier on the list, we showed you an item that would literally shake the trees that had things like berries in them and collect them in record time. Here's another version of that from Shulter, but it's more of a hands-on approach. As you can see from the design, it's a vehicle that has 6 arms that are on varying heights, and on the end of each arm is a basket. A worker goes into these baskets and will manually pick the trees of their fruits. But why do that when you can shake them? The answer is many-fold. Some trees can't have their fruits shaken off them, and some likely have very delicate fruits that won't survive the fall, especially if it's several feet up. Thus, This is a safer and still efficient option for getting the fruit down. Number 2. Guaressi. How many of you out there like bell peppers? If so, you'll like this Guaressi device, which helps farmers get their peck of peppers plucked prodigiously. See what I did there? Now, unlike certain other devices that we've shown on here, this one doesn't just pick the peppers. It rips out the whole plant. Then it puts the peppers on a conveyor belt, which can then get sorted in a variety of ways. There are even spots where workers can look for the peppers and see which ones are too small, not ripe, rotten, etc. Whole fields can be done in a short amount of time, and the sorting with the belts helps speed up the process even more. Number 1. Cadmack. For all of you who like nuts, you must know that many of them have a hard shell that must be cracked in various ways in order to get to the part that you can eat. For walnuts, it's even more intensive. You see, they have a fleshy layer that can be removed via a mix of friction and water in order to get the brown shells that are then roasted to make the walnuts you eat. The Cadmack is a simple device that does just that. It uses friction and water to cleanse the shells and dumps out the waste. And then when everything is nice and brown, they can be dumped into a container. And there you have it, some agricultural vehicles that go above and beyond the call and order to make sure that the people using it have the best options and abilities when tending to their crops and such. Do you wish you had a machine like some of these on your farm? Do you know a similar machine or one that does an even better job than some of these? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on the channel.